We're back in the shop, and today's project is to get our snowblower ready for winter. It's an Aaron's 8-horse, 26-inch with the Tecumseh Snow King engine on it. I don't think I put this away properly last spring. Normally I would put some stable in the gas, let it run for a few minutes, shut the gas off, drain the carb that way. I don't think I did that, so we may be into cleaning the carb here as well. But what else we'll do is, we'll check the belts and change the oil, put some air in the tires, looks like it needs it, and lube up the chute and that, and just give it a general once over to make sure we're good to go once it snows. The first thing we're going to do is see if it starts. If it does start up, we'll let it run for a few minutes, warm it up before we can change the oil next. I've got the choke on. Got the throttle turned up, and just have to hit the button now. Well, that started way easier than I thought it was gonna. We'll let it run for a few minutes. Like I said, warm up that oil and we'll change the oil. So if you listen to the engine, it's got a little bit of a skip to it. That's probably from the carb being a little dirty. We haven't cleaned the carb on this in, 10 years. It's been a long time. So we're probably due anyways. Like I said earlier, if you put it away properly, you probably wouldn't have to do this. The smart thing to do would be to use non-ethanol fuel, put some stable in it, and run it with a stable in it for a few minutes, and then turn the gas off and let the carburetor run dry. That's your best bet. I didn't do that, so now we have to do the carburetor. But we got a few other things to do first. We'll start with changing the oil. So we got our drain pan ready. We threw a piece of cardboard underneath because I always make a mess. Just gotta take the drain plug out. That's right here. If we take the oil cap off, it might come out a little quicker. Let's see, yep, there we go. Letting a little air in. Okay, so we'll let that drain for 5-10 minutes. While we're waiting for that to finish draining, we'll air up the tires. It says 20 psi on the side of the tire there. He just got one of these cheap inflators from Harbor Freight. Maybe just a touch over 20 pounds. We'll do that to both sides, obviously. Now that's pretty much stopped dripping. Put the cap back on. This is a pipe thread. It just gets tighter as you go. You don't have to torque it down too hard. Just good and snug is all you need. There, that's it. So, time to put some oil in it. Well, I don't know how much oil this takes. I'm guessing about 1.5 quarts. And we'll figure that out. And I'm just using some 10W30 that we got in the shelf. It's a mobile one. Didn't go buy anything special. Let that drip down and then we'll check it. Boy, that looks like we're really, really close. Let me let that settle for a few minutes and I'll check again. It looks perfect. We'll let it settle. While we're waiting for the oil to settle, let's grease the auger. There's 2 fittings on either side of the auger. Just a few squirts each, just enough that we can see it coming out. And there we can see it coming out, that shear pin bolt there. Okay, we'll do the other side. Get them from up underneath. All right, that should be good. Whoops. Well, let's see what it's going to take to get this carburetor off. I think there's 4 bolts holding this shroud on. A little stiffer than I thought. Come on. There we go. 2 screws down here. Okay, and 1 more around the side. All right, we got, take the key out and pull the cap off there for the choke. It's gonna have to come off. Grab a prying tool for that. There we go. Okay, that's it. one grounding wire. Maybe we can just leave that on. All right. Doesn't look too difficult. Well, let's get some different tools here. So this is pretty much the same as all of them. We've got two mounting bolts holding the carburetor on. We've got the primer fuel line, and then we've got the main fuel line at the back to take off, as well as the throttle linkage up top here. So this is pretty straightforward. See if we can't pull the fuel line off first, or the primer line, let's call it. There we go. The fuel line's got a hose clamp on it, so we'll take that off once we get the carburetor a little more free. So these bolts here are going to be tough to try to hold or loosen, so we'll just try to loosen it from the screw. From the screw head on the bolt anyways, we'll call it. All right, that's the easy one. Light on it. There we go. All right, that's not super tight either. We're able to hold the nut with our finger. I'm sure this will be a little more challenging to get back in. All right. Let's try to drop that. Okay, so we got the nut and bolt off on that side as well. Linkage should just pop right out. Should. Maybe it'd be easier to take the fuel line off first. More than likely. And I need a pair of pliers for that. I don't know if you can hear it, but you probably can. It's getting pretty windy out. And all the leaves hitting this metal roof make a lot of noise. These aren't the right pliers for the job. But we made them work. All right, that's off. Whoa, we forgot to shut the gas off. We'll shut the gas off now, a little late. There we go. Have to remind me to turn that back on. All right, and then just the throttle linkage is left, and we'll get this over to the table. All right, let's crack into this carburetor and see what we're looking at. Don't expect it to be too bad because it did run okay. And this carburetor, I forgot, this carburetor's got a drain on the bottom too. So when you put it away for the winter or the summer, you can just press that and it will drain all the gas out, whatever's left in the carburetor, which is a good idea to do. Nothing worse than old stale gas, especially with ethanol in it. That ethanol is not friendly to these little carburetors. Well, there's a little bit of dirt in the bottom. Not sure how well the camera's going to pick that up, but you can see the dirt in there, that's for sure. Yep, we've got a little bit of carb cleaner here. Spray in the bowl, clean the bowl up first. Alright, just okay. Looks okay. Clean that out as well. Making sure all the passages are clear. Looks good. Now I need a little pair of pliers. Pull that out. And our float should lift off with the needle valve attached. Okay, everything looks pretty clean. So all we'll do is just spray it out, blow some compressed air through it. Yeah, it's not too bad at all. Yep, she's relatively clean. Better than I thought it was going to be. We do have air screw mixture right there. So if we need to fine tune it, we can do it with that. Bit of compressed air. Now don't shoot through here too much. If you do, you can push out the seat for the needle valve. If you give that a real strong blast of air, that could pop out on you. All right, this is looking okay. Pretty simple, really. Needle valve looks perfectly clean. So we'll leave it like that. Set it right back in the way it was. And take our pin. Line everything up, push it through. Looks good. Clean that out one more time. Okay, and if there's a bump in this part would go to the front of the float bowl. That's how you know how to line that up. again, not super tight, just good and snug. There, it's good enough. All right, I guess we're ready to put the carburetor back on. All right, this is going pretty smooth. Put this back on the exact opposite way we took it off. We'll start with the throttle linkage. Remembering what hole we had it in, it was that one there. And next we'll put the fuel line on. This fuel line's looking a little old. Not having a very good time with these pliers either. There we go. Good enough. The primer line. Okay. Put the easiest one in first. I'm just going to get this in here just a little bit snug, not tight, before we can put the other side in. That should do. This side you can't really see what you're doing. Okay. I think I got it. Yeah, that was easier than I expected. Can't get much torque on that. There we go. Okay, so all we need to do now is put the shroud on. Starting with the ground wire. Again, we're not tightening that up, not until we got all the bolts in. Start with the one on the other side next. I'll bring you over there. Getting that hole lined up is proving to be a bit of a challenge. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, now I can see what I'm doing. Dropped it, of course. There we go, now it's falling in place. Okay, that's good. This one will snug right up. Okay, good and tight. Okay, it looks like everything's tight. Okay. Put the key back in. Put the knob on for the choke. There we go. That works. The auto works. All right. Turn the gas on, we'll see if it starts. All right, it's turned on, choke's on, gave it a couple primes. It might be running just a little smoother, but it's still popping a little bit. We'll get in there and see if we can't adjust that carburetor. So I pulled out what I thought was an air screw or an air fuel mixture screw. And I don't think it is. It looks more like a jet. It was in there tight as well. It's got holes in the side of it there. Not sure if you can see that. It's going to focus. And then a hole in the tip as well. I'm going to spray some carb cleaner through that and see if it's clogged or not. Doesn't look to be. I thought that was going to give us some adjustment, but I don't think it's going to now. Yeah, that's not clogged. That's spraying out the way it should. Oh well, so I guess the way it runs is as good as it's going to get. So I guess the only other thing we can do is check the spark plug. We haven't bought one, but we'll just take a quick look at this, see how it looks. It's carboned up a little bit, a little black. Seen worse. We've got a wire brush here. We'll just clean it up a little bit and we'll put it back in. Yeah, it's a fair amount better. We'll call that good enough. There's no air cleaners on these, as you noticed. And they're just operated in the winter when it's snow on the ground. There's very little dust, so that's not a concern. All right, I think we're pretty much done. Double check one more time, make sure everything runs. So we'll turn it on first. All right, I think we're good to go. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I got a bunch more videos on things like this, small engines, lawnmowers, vehicles. Anyways, thanks for watching.